Good afternoon again, college football world. We are excited again to be back for week 3 of college football. If you're doing the math, this is going to be our 4th show, though, so you guys got to figure all that out. But we're excited to have all of our friends of the program back this week, and also our good friend of the program, Jay Jacobs, with us today as well. And Jay, we're excited, man. Another weekend in college football, another good slate of games, as you guys can see down on the bottom. So, we're going to recap last weekend, the weekend that was, and the weekend that's going to be. So welcome to the show.
Appreciate it, Justin. It's great to be here. As you see, my counterpart, SoCon John, is not with me, and we're not at Furman this week due to some scheduling issues. Of course, we want to thank everybody at Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina. Just left there. Had a Powder burger and fries. Man, you just can't beat it, man. And I just want to thank Donnie and Angie for all they do for our TGFF game day.
I'm going to make sure I get this right this week, Jay. It's Arden's Burger and Grill. Okay.
There you go.
To our amazing friends of the program. The recap from the week that was in Conference USA.
Hey, everybody. Jay here with the Conference USA preview. We've been having some issues, so I'm on here as a backup for our Conference USA representative, which is Sidelines Middle Tennessee. But let's go through it. Louisiana Tech will be taking on NC State at home at 11 a.m. on the ACC network. This game, NC State has to rebound after a bad loss last weekend. Give me NC State this game. I think they still are a good team, and I think they bounce back against LA Tech or Louisiana Tech, however you want to say it, and they get the win. UTEP will be taking on Liberty, and that'll be at 5 p.m. Give me Liberty in this game. I think Liberty's a team on the rise, a team that could be fighting for a spot in the playoffs if they can, if everything falls right. So give me Liberty over UTEP. FIU will take on Florida Atlantic at 5 p.m. in Boca Raton, Florida. These two teams, I don't know a lot about them. I've been trying to read up a little bit about them. But let me have Florida Atlantic in this game over FIU. Hawaii will travel to Sam Houston at 6 p.m. That'll be on ESPN+. I've always been a fan of the Rainbows ever since June Jones was a coach there. I think it's a team that if it just had the right coaching, it could get there. Hawaii is trying to turn the table around. Sam Houston's still a good mid-level team. I think both these teams keep it close, but give me Hawaii in a 24-21 ball game. Jackson State will take on Eastern Michigan. That'll be at 6 p.m. Said that'll be played up in Michigan. Give me Eastern Michigan this game. I think Jackson State still got a lot of learning to go through. I think Rodriguez is going to have his growing pains this year. But you know what? They could surprise Eastern Michigan in this game. Kennesaw State versus San Jose State. This will be played at San Jose, California at 6 p.m. Kennesaw State, this is their second year in the Division One, the first year. I'm sorry, and they're going through some growing pains. San Jose State, of course, will be going to the Pac-12 soon. So I think San Jose State's got this game. I think Kennesaw is still growing, still getting where they need to get. So give me San Jose State. Middle Tennessee State versus Western Kentucky. Give me Middle Tennessee State in this game. I think Western Kentucky's getting to where they're turning that program around, but I still think the Middle Tennessee State has a chance to take that game. That's at 6 o'clock in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. New Mexico State at Fresno State. Give me New Mexico State in this game. Even though they're playing the way, they'll be taking on Fresno State at home. This is at 9:30 in Fresno. Give me New Mexico State in a shot.
And obviously that will be brought to us too by another good friend of the program, Upstate Physical Therapy. They are good friends, and thank you so much for allowing us to be with us and for us to be with you. So thank you so much for that. That segment's going to be brought to you by our good friends at Cowboy Revolution. Get your amazing Cowboy Revolution gear. Use code GSM to get your discount. So looking forward to that. Thank you so much. The next segment that we're going to get to, Jay, is we're going to be talking SEC
Hello,
now.
everybody. This is Jay here for TGFF Game Day. Talking a little bit about the SEC and games going on this weekend. Some of the big games going on. First is Alabama and Wisconsin. Alabama is at Wisconsin. We talked a little bit about this today, and I really think that Alabama wins this game. It's not going to be by a big score. A lot of people got it as a 28-10 score, but give me Alabama over Wisconsin. Because it's in Wisconsin, I think it's going to be a lot closer. Next, we got LSU going to South Carolina. This is our game of the week. And I think LSU pulls this one out. It's going to be like, I think, somewhere in the score of 27-17. I know a lot of score people have it 31-13, something to that aspect. I think Carolina keeps it a little bit closer, but not by much. Next thing we have is Boston College going against Missouri. Let's see, Missouri is number 6 right now. Boston College 24. Boston College is really got a great team. They're doing a lot of great things. Give me Boston College in the upset. That's right. I think Boston College upsets Missouri, but you know, I still think Missouri's great. I think it's going to be somewhere in the range of 24-21 if Boston College wins. If Missouri fan show up and show out, you know, it could be one of those games where it's 41-20. So, but that's where I think that game is. Texas A&M, Florida. I think that DJ Lagway is going to be the reason why Florida gets the win over Texas A&M. I don't think this game is going to be pretty. I think it's going to be one game that Lagway shows the reason why Florida did everything they could to get him from Clemson and from A&M, and this is his game to show up and show out. If not, it could be Billy Napier's funeral, because they have been really struggling at Florida, and that's where it is. Next game is Tulane at Oklahoma. Of course, I think this game is going to be a blowout. Oklahoma over Tulane. And then, I mean, we're talking around 42-7. That game will be pretty. UAB at Arkansas. Arkansas is trying to save Sam Pittman's job. I think that UAB is a great team, but they're just not great enough. Arkansas gets this game and wins it big. Ole Miss at Wake Forest. I'm a big Wake Forest fan, but Ole Miss is a whole nother monster. Best team that you could buy in football. Give me Ole Miss by, 24 points. I hope Wake can keep it close, but I just don't think they can pull this one out. Vanderbilt at Georgia State. Georgia State's really been playing well this year, but Vanderbilt, I tell you, they're starting to get better down there. The Commodores. Give me the Commodores over Georgia State. UTSA at Texas. This game won't be close. It's probably going to be a 49-0 blowout. UTSA might get a 7 or 3 points. You know, they're not going to score much. This is Texas winning big, and the only reason why they get that is because Texas probably puts in the fourth team depth chart and still keeps them. Maybe they get a touchdown through special teams, but I don't see this. Georgia at Kentucky. I hope Georgia just blows Kentucky out. You know, if they keep their guys out of away from the Athens Police Department from speeding, that'd be one thing. But Georgia's going to win this game big. I'm talking in the 50s. Kentucky might get a touchdown. 52-7, 52-3. I don't see Kentucky doing well in this game. New Mexico's at Auburn. Auburn lost last week to California, team that I picked to beat them. This week, Auburn needs to bounce back. If they cannot bounce back and they lose to New Mexico, Hugh Freeze is going to be in a world of hurt, because he has brought in a lot of players, and we all know that he's doing what he's got to do to get them. So if they start this, Hugh Freeze could be out by the end of the year. So give me Auburn over New Mexico, but in a close one. Toledo takes on Mississippi State. Mississippi State wins this one. I mean, it's going to probably be around in 31-10, somewhere in that range. And then Kent State takes on Tennessee, number 7 Tennessee. Tennessee's going to dominate this. I wouldn't be surprised. It's like 76-3. Yeah, this game's going to be pretty crazy. But anyway, I do appreciate everybody for joining me here on the SEC preview, and hopefully SSN Florida will be back next week. We've been having some technical difficulties, but we're glad to fill in for him this week. And like I said, we've got SSN Gators, which is our Florida guy. He will be hopefully back next week. So here's the preview for this week, and thank you, and back to Justin and me.
That's the breakdown of your SEC games this week and the week that was. And obviously, thank you so much for Doobie Energy as well for providing us our energy needs for this show. Thank you so much. But our next segment is going to be our good friend from the Big 12, Joe Tillery. And that part of us is going to be sponsored by Pepsi this week. We thank our friends over at Pepsi this week, and we also thank Joe for joining the show with us this week. Joe, take it away.
Week 3 of Big 12 football is here, my friends. Once again, my name is Joe Tillery. I cover the Big 12 over at Heartland College Sports, and I cover Kansas State on my YouTube channel. It's Joe Tillery, the same as my name. This is going to be a massive week for the non-con schedule, rounding things out before conference play starts up next week. The biggest game on the slate, the biggest game in all of college football, resides in the Big 12 this week, with number 14 Kansas State hosting number 20 Arizona in Manhattan, Kansas. Now, a quick background on this game. This is the first top 20 matchup where both teams obviously inside the top 20 in Manhattan since 2014. This is a massive deal for both programs. And while the stats don't necessarily count this towards the Big 12 slate, like this game isn't going to count as, hey, Kansas State wins, it's one loss for Arizona in conference play or vice versa. This game is just a regular non-con because that's the way we live in conference realignment. That's the way it goes. That being said, this establishes the big dogs. Obviously, there's programs like Oklahoma State and Utah and Kansas at times, obviously coming off the bad loss to Illinois. There are teams established at this top-end spectrum. The biggest game of the entire non-conference schedule so far is Kansas State-Arizona. Whoever wins this game, you are a legitimate Big 12 title contender. I know the stats don't necessarily add anything or take it away, but this is a game that could potentially get you to the college football playoff if you lose one game, lose 2 games as an at-large bid. This is a massive deal for both programs. Avery Johnson versus Noah Fafita. The game could not be any bigger. It's on Friday night, so national audience tuning in. I wouldn't be surprised if it was upwards of 3 to 5 million viewers in that time frame. Kansas taking on UNLV and another Friday matchup, but that game not nearly as pressing, I would say. Kansas should get the job done. I know they didn't look great against Illinois, but I trust them a little bit more. Coming back in week 3 for the overcorrection. There's some big games in this slate. I always love the backyard brawl. You've got West Virginia taking on Cincinnati. One game I do want to discuss, Colorado State. The in-state rivals do not like each other. If that's a secret, I should not be the first one to say it. Just the other day, Braden Fowler Nikolowski, the quarterback for Colorado State, and another DB or receiver, I forget off the top of my head, was talking mad trash, basically saying, hey, let's see how much all those social media followers get him in the foot on the football field. Folks, you lost to a bad Colorado team last season in overtime. I don't know if now's the time to be talking trash. That being said, that game is a 7-point line in favor of the Colorado Buffaloes. I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to win that game. I'm not going to sit here and say Colorado's going to, chase the spread and get it done. I don't think either team is the one that you say, yep, 70% of the time they win this game. Both teams are kind of toss-up teams. Neither do I think will be great. The difference is Colorado State's in a much worse league than they are in the Big 12 Conference. That being said, it's not about the conference stuff. It's about these two squaring off on the football field. That being said, these coaches do not like each other. The players do not like each other, and there's going to be some massive headlines regardless of which way this game goes. I would probably lean Colorado money line, but I'm not going to touch that as a bet because the 7-point spread does not give you much to win there, to say the least. My picks for this week. Once again, we got absolutely boned on the backdoor cover from Pittsburgh over Cincinnati. I'm not letting it happen again. West Virginia is beating Pittsburgh. They're only favored by 2. Cincinnati was favored by 2, and they should have beaten them by 30. Give me West Virginia. Give me Neil Brown. I know it's on the road, but I'm trusting the process. Neil Brown, the West Virginia Mountaineers, are much, much better than Cincinnati and much, much better than Pitt. I will take West Virginia there. The next game I'm moving on, talking about Cincinnati, give me Cincinnati minus the points against Miami, Ohio. I do not care what the spread is at. Give me that. It is less than a touchdown right now. I believe it was at 2.5 or 3 while I'm looking at it at the moment. Give me Cincinnati to beat a team like Miami, Ohio. The Redhawks have been good in the past. Don't get me wrong. They've had some good stuff, but I will take Cincinnati to get that done. And lastly, a game that I should have talked about in the intro, I'll give some background here now. You've got the TCU Horned Frogs taking on the UCF Knights. This game is at TCU. It's not in Orlando. I think TCU is fraudulent. I'll say it right now. I do not have them finishing in the top half of the league. Some people have them finishing in that 8-9 spot, and that's a pretty solid start for Sonny Dykes this year. You go to a natty one year, you don't make bowl eligibility next year, that's a warning sign for me. That being said, I think UCF's a much better team. I think their defense is better. Their rushing attack is way better. I think the best quarterback in this game plays for UCF. I will take KJ Jefferson and UCF to get it done. Right now, this game is listed as a 1-point spread in favor of UCF. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a pick'em game at the start of the kickoff, but I will take UCF. I will take UCF money line. I'll take them 1, 2, 3 points. I would take them up to 3.5 in this game, even going past a field goal. I think they're a touchdown better than TCU. I will also take Cincinnati, regardless of what the number is. If it gets to like double digits, that's crazy. But give me less than a one-score game. I will take Cincinnati over Miami, Ohio. And lastly, like I said, I will take West Virginia to beat the out of Pitt. Beat the blank out of Pitt. That's what I'm taking in the backyard brawl. Those are my 3 picks, and we'll be back to talk week 4 of action here soon. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you on the game day over here. Thank you all for all the support. Go Big 12. This is a big week for the boys. We're going to get it done here soon.
Wow, that was some great information about the Big 12 this week. And folks, now it's time for the Sitting Pretty Dog Grooming Underdog of the Week, brought to you by Sitting Pretty Dog Grooming in Anderson, South Carolina. We want to thank Felicia and Emma and everything they do for us. And let's go to Ralphie, the underdog, with his Sitting Pretty Underdog of the Week.
Pal Ralphie, and I'm here to give you this week's underdog game. This week's underdog is Memphis against FSU. Give me Memphis beating LSU. Oh,
Wolf, wolf, let's go. Welcome back to the show. And again, thank you so much, Ralphie, for giving us your Wolf pick of the week. We appreciate y'all. Our next segment, though, is going to be our good friend of the program, Mr. Jay Jacobs, is going to be talking to us about the Big Ten. And that one's going to be brought to you by True Victory. He's already rocking his True Victory gear. You can also get what we get by using the promo code Furman Joust. So we look forward to that. Jay, take it away. Give us some good news.
All right, man, let's go to it. This is Jay here for the Big Ten this week. Unfortunately, Daniel was not able to be on the show, so I told him I'd fill in for him, and we'll just go over some of the games that will be in the Big Ten this week. Not a lot of big-name games this week. One game that in particular kind of sparks my interest is going to be Minnesota versus Nevada. Nevada will be coming to Minnesota. This is a game of teams that really need a win. I think Minnesota's going to be able to take out Nevada, but Nevada's a team you can't just forget all about. They like to go in and show their worth. So, but I still think Minnesota's going to take this game. So give me Minnesota in that game. Another game, Purdue versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame travels to Purdue. Purdue is a team that cannot be taken lightly. They got a great head coach. They got some good players. So the thing that we're going to be looking at here is, does Notre Dame fall down on the job, is basically how you say it. Is Notre Dame going to be able to handle all the stuff that's been said about them all week, saying that they need to get rid of the coach, they need to get rid of the players. Honestly, the Northern Illinois was not a huge loss. I mean, yes, it was a bad loss, but I don't see it as a firing type loss. So give me Purdue in this game, believe it or not. This might be something that causes Notre Dame to think twice about its head coaching job. But I think Notre Dame probably will come out and win, but I'm going to pick Purdue in this game. All right, and then next game we want to talk about is Washington and Washington State. Washington State comes to Washington. Of course, Washington, new head coach, new quarterback, a whole list of different players. I still think they're a pretty decent team. They'll be taking on a Washington State team that is going to be out to prove something. And I personally think that Washington's going to conduct its business and hold home field advantage and pull this game out over Washington State. I think it's going to be a close one, maybe 1 to 3 points. That's what I think is going to happen in this game. Another is Illinois versus Central Michigan. Central Michigan is not a bad team, but they're not a great team. Illinois is having, I don't know how you would say it. They're having a pretty decent start. Of course, they haven't played anybody quite great yet, so we don't know exactly what Illinois is all about. But give me Illinois in this game. I think they're just going to be too much for Central Michigan. And then we go to a team that lost last week to Texas. Michigan will be taking on Arkansas State. Arkansas State, not really a great team. Michigan, they need to rebound in a great way. A lot of people are starting to doubt them. So that kind of stuff gets in your mind as a player. So I think that Michigan's going to come out, handle its business, and we go from there to the game that I think is going to be the game in the Big Ten. Will be Wisconsin and Alabama. We're going to find out what Alabama's all about. Wisconsin is a good team and well coached and got some good players. Can they meet the intensity of Alabama? That's what we're going to have to look at. I don't think they can. I'm going to go with Alabama in this game, and I just really think that Alabama is going to come out with a sense of purpose to show that they are still an SEC powerhouse, even though they've lost Nick Saban. And I think their coach is out to make this a year of redemption for Alabama. All right, next game, and our final game this week will be Nebraska versus Northern Iowa. Nebraska now is ranked. It's been a long time since they've been ranked. They're sitting at 23rd. Matt Rule's doing a great job with that team. Been getting some great recruiting coming in, and I think that he has got that team turned in the right direction. Give me Nebraska in this game, winning big. That is the games that we have for this week. In the Big Ten recap, like I said, hopefully Daniel will be back next week. I was just trying to fill in for him for this week, and I just want to thank all you for watching TGFF Game Day. And this has been brought to you by TrueVictory.com. TrueVictory.com. Use code FurmanJoust, and you can save 15% off your order. That's TrueVictory.com, 15% off your order. Thank you for watching the Big Ten.
Again, thank you so much again for all of our good partners. Again, we'd like to thank True Victory once again for all of your apparel needs. Hit up them. The next thing that we got here on the show, guys, is going to be the Luck of the Irish segment. And, maybe Nathan will give us some insight onto what went wrong last week for Notre Dame. Thank you for joining the show once again, Notre Dame. And we appreciate you, Nathan. Give us your takes, my guy. Welcome in again. What's our good friend of the program, Mr. Nathan Erbach. He is from our Sports Illustrated crew. So thanks again, Nate, for joining the show, man. We appreciate you coming on again. We're going to get your thoughts from the week that was for Notre Dame and the week that's going to be for Notre Dame. So tell us what happened with the Irish last week, man. It was kind of rough.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, hopefully a much better week this week as Notre Dame faces off against Purdue. But honestly, man, I don't know if there's many excuses you can make for losing to NIU. I mean, obviously, all respect to them. I think they're a good MAC program. We talked about that last week, that they had a good defense, and that I thought it would make it tough on Notre Dame to maybe put them away.
Yeah.
From a 28-point spread. I didn't think they were going to win by 28 necessarily, or by more than 28, but obviously was not expecting a 16-14 loss. And I think in Notre Dame's case, anytime you only give up 16 points, no matter who the opponent is, you expect to win.
Right.
Even though the defense specifically didn't play its best, they didn't get off the field at times. They allowed a really, really talented NIU running back to run all over them in certain aspects of that game. But when it's all said and done, 16 points is 16 points, and it should have never came down to that. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we'll get right into the offense things. I think that's really the big thing here. Riley Leonard, who was the high profile Duke transfer, has not been what people expected, and he got hurt last week, and that might have played a little bit of a factor. I think he hurt his non-throwing shoulder. There's some speculation out there that it might be a torn labrum, and I know like some other guys have played through that injury in the past and have done well, but when you're a running quarterback, specifically, or a guy that really, really relies on the run to kind of get the pass going, in Riley Leonard, that's definitely something to monitor moving forward, because if he can't be effective in the run game, then I think Notre Dame might have to make a change at quarterback, which, if we want to get into, I do think that there are some talented guys that, at least in a lot of people's opinion, Notre Dame didn't necessarily have to hit the portal for Riley Leonard to have a good quarterback situation this year. They elected to do that. And now you're sort of, stuck in this situation where, do you stick with the guy that you paid pretty significantly to come over, or do you go to some of your talented guys that have been kind of waiting in the wings?
Yeah, I mean, give us kind of who your thoughts are on that. Like, I mean, if Riley can't go, who's going to be next up for y'all?
Yeah, so right now it looks like it's Steve Angeli, who's been there for a couple years now. I think he's entering his, if I'm not mistaken, it's his actual junior season, but I think he's technically a
Hmm.
redshirt sophomore. If I have that correct, it's all the recruiting classes kind of blur in your mind over the years.
Right.
But he started the bowl game last year, played really, really well in the bowl game against Oregon State, and um, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of Notre Dame fans and even the coaching staff can really trust him if he were to get the call. He's more of a traditional passer. He can run.
Hmm.
He's not immobile by any means, but he's certainly more of a pocket passer than Riley Leonard. I think he can actually potentially sort of get the offense going from a passing perspective because right now Notre Dame, I mean, they're dead last in the in FBS in passing touchdowns. They have to be dead last because they don't have one. So maybe someone's tied
Right.
with them, but they're at least tied for last in terms of passing touchdowns over the first 2 weeks of the season. Obviously against A&M, they were able to win in spite of that. And I
Yeah.
think Riley Leonard had some good moments in that game. But when you have zero passing touchdowns against a MAC program at home in your first game of the season at home, that's kind of a rough stat, no matter how you
Right.
spin it. So it would probably go Angeli first, and then you have Kenny Minchie, who's a sophomore, and CJ Carr, who was sort of the prize recruit of the 2024 recruiting class, and a lot of people expect him to be the guy potentially next year and beyond. But obviously, just a true freshman.
Okay. What are you looking for this week? I mean, as far as improvement goes, I mean, obviously you guys got Purdue, so what are your thoughts on that? What do you think you're going to see this week?
Yeah, so one of the things that Notre Dame has been pretty good at in the Marcus Freeman tenure so far, obviously only 2 years in, or 2.5 years in, kind of, I guess, or two
Hmm.
plus, whatever you want, however you want to say it. Um, when they've come off losses, specifically against like a couple years ago they lost to Marshall. The NIU
Hmm.
loss is obviously very similar to that one. You don't want that in year three. You can accept it in year one as a coach or as a program with a new coach. You can't really accept that in year three. But one thing they've done is since the Ohio State Marshall losses to start off his career as the Notre Dame head coach, they haven't lost 2 games in a row. So
Okay.
whenever they do have that bad loss, and sometimes not necessarily a bad loss, but just a loss to a good program. They lost to Louisville last year. They lost to Clemson last year.
Hmm.
In both those instances, they came back and won.
Yeah.
In the case of since Marshall, I think they ended up going 9-4
Hmm.
in Marcus Freeman's first year. So when you start when you start your career off 0-2, one of them being against Marshall, and then you finish the year 9-4 with wins against like BYU, North Carolina, Clemson.
Hmm.
Um, people, you kind of see a coach that's elevating the team past what, might have been the expectations after starting 0-2.
Right.
And that's kind of what I expect to see against Purdue this week. Obviously, rivalry game. It's on the road, so it's going to be tough. I'm not expecting it to be a blowout by any means. I'm not even necessarily expecting Notre Dame to cover the spread, which I think started at 10.5 and maybe has gone down a little bit.
Okay.
Um, but I kind of it kind of parallels the Marshall game from 2022. The next
Hmm.
week they played a decent Cal team. Now that one was at home and obviously not a rivalry. Ended up being like 24-17, I think it was, but it was sort of a sluggish game. Notre Dame had a new kind of welcomed in a new quarterback. I think that was Drew
Hmm.
Pine's first start for Notre Dame, or at least I don't know. I forget if he again they kind of all jumbled together. I forget if he started or if Buckner got hurt in that game.
Hmm.
But that sort of started the Drew Pine tenure at Notre Dame for that 1 year he was there as the starting quarterback.
Okay.
And this kind of feels like that is,
Hmm.
obviously, like, again, it's a rivalry game and it's on the road, but Notre Dame's a better football team than Purdue, at least from a talent perspective, right?
Right.
And so that's kind of what I'm expecting. I don't think that they're going to fix all of their issues this
Hmm.
week. I think that's tough to say after you lose to an NIU program. Um, but I do expect the offense to be incrementally better, and then I
Okay.
expect the defense to kind of get back on track. And let's face it, I think Purdue is projected to maybe be last in the Big Ten this year, or close to
Hmm.
last in the Big Ten. You shouldn't lose 2 games in a row to NIU and Purdue if you're
Right.
if you're looking to make the playoff. And so, obviously, right now, playoff is the least of Notre Dame's worries. They need to get back on the winning side of things. But they still have a schedule that if they can win the rest of their games, and I think that that's still technically a possibility because I do think there's talent on this team and they can kind of rally around that loss. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm expecting tomorrow is to get just a tad bit better. Defense gets off the field a little bit easier. The offense is able to produce some more points and it not be sort of the ugly game that was last week. And, then hopefully ride that into the next couple weeks before they get into some of their better opponents.
All right. You want to give us your prediction, or you want to just kind of leave it the way you got you right now? You just think they're just going to ride
Sure.
out?
Ironically enough, I think I mentioned the Cal game that ended up 24-17. That's kind of what I have Notre Dame winning at. I put it on the Notre Dame SI prediction yesterday. So yeah, 24-17. I don't know if it's going to be one of those games where it's, Notre Dame scores a late touchdown to seal it, or if Notre Dame is sort of up like 24-14 or something like that. And, 4 minutes are left in the game. Purdue kicks a field goal, tries to get the ball back. And then, Notre Dame kind of just stuffs them or something like that. I think that's probably what I would predict more than anything is 24-14. Purdue scores late, or kicks a field goal late to try to give themselves a chance. And then the Notre Dame defense steps up when they should. That's probably closer to my prediction than anything. But again, it's not going to be the prettiest game. It's not going to be the ugliest game, but it's going to get Notre Dame hopefully back on track.
Well, cool deal. Thank you as always, man. You're always a pleasure to join up on the show with us. We always enjoy having you on. Once again, just give a shout out to where everybody can find you. You always have great articles, good stuff. So we try to get you shared out, but tell everybody else where they can find you, and hopefully you guys will have a bounce back week this week.
Yeah. So first off, my Twitter handle or my X handle is Nathan_Erbach. That's ERB as in boy, ACH. You can also find me on Notre Dame Fighting Irish at Sports Illustrated or Notre Dame on SI on X as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again, Nathan, for joining the show. We appreciate you. I know you got a lot to get done today, so we're going to let you have your weekend back. Enjoy this weekend of great college football, and hopefully you guys will be a little bit happier next week when we do the show again next week. So thanks again so much, my guy.
All right. Thanks, that was great information from Nathan about Notre Dame. We just appreciate everything he does coming on the show. Of course, he's on the West Coast, so definitely time change. But thank you, Nathan, for coming on and giving us that great information. And we also want to thank our sponsor over there, Weekend Warrior Golf and Apparel. Go and get that. We will have the information on Greenville Sports Media. Just click the little card back down in our sponsor section. We thank them over there. All right, now we get to Justin, and of course, he is brought to us by Amelia. I'm telling you, the best food you could put in your mouth. If you're in Raleigh, you got to go. And Justin doesn't just tell you that, just be telling you that. He goes there, and he has that great food every time he's in Raleigh. Make sure you go there. Let's go to Justin in the ACC.
Let's get it. My guys over at Amelia's, we love them. They're so amazing. Always good to talk to Dave and his crew over there. They do a fantastic job, Jay, of getting us some really good pizzas, lasagnas, calzone, anything that you need for your Italian needs. They're really good at getting us what we need, Jay. But, the biggest thing that I saw last week was, the ACC just doesn't give us what we need anymore, Jay. We just need that excitement. But, man, was it an up and down week. NC State just fell flat on their face. I feel so rough inside about that one being my alma mater, but also just with us getting crushed. It wasn't even close. So, no more need to beat that dead horse. We all know that horse was done. So, but there was some good positives to take away. There was some good games last week. Cal went down to Auburn and got a nice little victory for them.
I picked that one.
Yeah, you did. Absolutely. That was one that I did not see coming. That was another good one for them. And it was just one of those weeks that, kind of was up and down. We had a lot of good showings. We had Boston College getting a really good win. We had Louisville dominating again with another good win for them. I've got them, probably my top 2-3 now. Miami got another win. North Carolina got another win. Duke got another win. So, there was a lot of good, but there was also just the bad. And right now, the ACC just needs some help getting their image back. So, this week, we're going to have our grew over in Florida State again. They got a chance for some redemption, so give us some redemption there. That's one of my games of the week this week is going to be the Memphis Florida State game, and I'm hoping that the Noles can rebound. I think they will rebound this week. I think they're going to get, back on track. I think DJ has a good game this week. So I think he's primed to kind of at least have a little bit lesser talented team to go up against. I think they get the win. But, Jay, what's your thoughts on that one too, real quick?
I'm going to say my score or my pick for who's going to win, but I think that Florida State has definitely got a lot of issues. If they don't get it resolved, it's going to be a long year if they lose this game. And Memphis is a tough team. You never know what you're going to get from them. I mean, they always play hard, that's for sure. So it's not a cakewalk. And I think that it's going to be a very interesting game, and you'll have to wait to the end of the show to find out which way I'm going.
Sounds good. Now, my game of the week is obviously going to be this Missouri game. Honestly, I don't expect, too much from the ACC. That's just kind of where I thought. But I did really think Boston College at least got us some praise last week. They put up quite a few points on Duquesne last week. So I'm hoping they don't get blown out this week. I do have Missouri, though. I'm winning that right now. They're 2 touchdown favorites on that. And then another game that I had circled for this week was, we always got the West Virginia guys, and we got them taking on the Pittsburgh Panthers this week. So I will say Pitt's definitely surprised me a little bit so far, but I'm still going to take West Virginia this week. I still think the ACC's got a little bit more things to prove this week, but I do think that they are going to start to turn the corner this week. Week 3, week 4 tends to be, the week where things start to change for some of these teams. I think NC State gets back on track. North Carolina's got a really easy game with North Carolina Central this week, so they should be able to get back on track. But I will give you a really interesting, kind of intriguing matchup to look up for, and that's going to be Duke and UConn. So Duke's off to a good start, 2-0, and they're going to be playing UConn this week, so we're going to see how they do. But that was the week that was, the week that will be. We're going to be looking forward to giving you guys the rewind next week.
All right. That was some great information, Justin. Thanks for giving us some insight on the ACC. And, of course, always want to thank Emilio's over there in Raleigh for that great segment. Also, now we want to go to our guest picker of the week. The guest picker this week, Coach Jerry Norris of the Anderson Cavaliers. We was able to go down and talk to him while they was at practice, and we appreciate what he does. And we want to thank the Point RV at Hartwell Lake for sponsoring this segment. Of course, if you are in the upper state of South Carolina and you need a place to stay, get with the Point RV at Lake Hartwell. They have a great rustic campground. They have cabins you can rent. You can bring your trailer, park it down there. They got a swimming pool, pavilion, the boat dock for you to go fishing or put your boat in. You name it, they got it. The Point RV at Lake Hartwell. Now let's go to Coach Jerry Norris and his special picks for this week.
All right, we're here, TGFF Game Day, here with our guest picker for the week, Coach Jerry Norris. Coach, tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing right now.
Well, actually, we're having our walkthrough practice. We just got finished, and on Thursday nights, we like to kick back at our home field and kind of let the guys have fun and do a little 7-on-7. It builds camaraderie with the team and fellowship, and this is a brotherhood when you come play for the Cavaliers, so we like to keep that going with the guys while they're participating in all these games and all the homecoming festivities that are coming up this week. It's going to be a big game for us against Dixie next week. This is our bye week, so we're just letting the guys kick back and have fun a little bit because they've been grinding and hit since February. So we're just letting the guys kick back and have a little fun today, so everything's going great.
All right, Coach. Well, let's get to it. We appreciate you, first of all, for being our guest picker this week. Let's go with Game 1. Who you got?
Game 1 between Arizona and Kansas State. I'm going to go with K-State. K-State has an awesome defense. Offense is like phenomenal. They keep it running back here and there. You know me, I'm an ex-running back, so I love running backs. So I'm going to go with K-State big in that game.
All right, Game 2, who you got?
Game 2 is Alabama and Wisconsin. And to be honest with you, Wisconsin has me. Coach Rule, man, he's doing something great down there with those guys. He's all about his team, and I love that. I love a coach that picks his players up. He never puts them down. He protects them. He prays with them. and he's just a team player coach. You got to love that guy. So I got Wisconsin winning that one in the shootout.
All right, game 3.
Game 3, we got Boston College and Missouri. I'm going to take Boston College. Boston College, man, plays real good in the ACC. I really got them as one of my teams coming out of the ACC because they look so good, and their running game is phenomenal. So it's going to be hard to stop those guys once they're pounding the ball. All
right, game 4.
Game 4 against Coastal Carolina and Temple. This one is the tough one. I want to say that I'm neutral on this, but I'm going to go with Coastal Carolina just because I know those coaches came from Liberty, and they're bringing what they're bringing from Liberty to Coastal Carolina, and I think this is going to be an awesome game. But I do think the Coast is going to pull it out.
All right, game 5.
Game 5 is going to be Oregon versus Oregon State. Wow, this is early. But like I said, I love Oregon. I love their fast-paced offense. I love how they can get up and down the field. I love how they can put 60 up on you. I like how they like to throw the home run ball the first play of the game to keep you guessing. I love that, so I'm going with Oregon big on this one.
All right, game 6.
Texas A&M and Florida. It's gonna be a good one. But I'm gonna go with Florida. I'm gonna go with Florida big on this one. Florida's at home, and it's hard to go down there and battle with those guys in the swamp. And I think Florida's gonna pull it out. It's gonna be a close one, but I think Florida's gonna pull it out.
So they're gonna say Billy Napier's job tonight.
Yeah. Hey, listen, maybe it'll be a last-second field goal game, but I got Florida pulling it out by the skin of the teeth.
All right, your next game.
Next one is Stetson and Furman. I'm going to go with Furman on this one because it's time for them to turn that program around. They got some good recruits coming in. The coach is doing a great job down there, keeping these guys well maintained and just keeping them focused on day-to-day preparation for the games. And I think Furman's going to pull this one out. I think this is going to be a shocker for everybody, but Furman's going to pull this one out, I want to say, by 10 points.
All right. Game 8.
Game 8 is Washington State and Washington. This one right here is going to be a real good game because Washington, they're coming out off of making that run last year, and they lost their coach. There's a lot of emotion with that Washington team, and I think Washington State's going to come in and take advantage of that, and I think Washington State's going to win this game by 14.
All right, game 9.
Game 9, we got Ole Miss and Wake Forest. Wake Forest doesn't have me fooled, but I'm scared of Ole Miss right now. Any team first week you put up 76 points, that's major. And you put up X amount of points that second week. Ole Miss has me scared right now. They're in the SEC, and they're really bringing it heavy. They're a well put together team, and they're showing up all these points they're putting up and the display that they're doing out there on the football field. So I got Ole Miss winning huge in this one.
All right, game 10.
Game 10 is Rice and Houston. Rice is that sleeper team, but Houston has always found a way to win. It's almost like Houston will pull it out at like the last second, and it won't be with a field goal. It'll be like with a last second touchdown, and then defense had to prevail to help them win the game. But I am taking Rice in this one because I like Rice. I am taking Rice in this one. I'm taking Rice to win by 8 points.
There you go.
And because I like Rice. Rice plays Texas Longhorns almost every year, and they always almost keep it close to us like the second half. And they always play tough. Those guys will never give up.
Exactly.
So I'm taking Rice by 8 points in this game.
All right, game 11.
Game 11 is UCF and TCU. TCU is not the same team that they were a couple of years ago, and I think we found that out. But I think those guys are kind of finding their way, and I always like the Horned Frogs. So I'm going to go with TCU on this one, winning by 17 points. And I think that these guys are going to get it together because you haven't talked about them within the last 2 years. And then when they come in and Colorado comes in, Deion takes over and they beat them. And everybody said, well, they just made a run, and then Deion comes in and beat them, and everybody thinks that Colorado's going to make a run, and then they don't make that run after they beat TCU. So TCU is that up and down team, but I'm going to go with them by 17 points in this game.
All right, game 12.
Game 12 is Memphis and FSU. FSU, I'm not going to say I'm giving up on them, but I want to say this is their turnaround game. They're going to turn it around against Memphis, and everybody that has burned the FSU flags, hats, everything that they've thrown away, they're going to be pulling them out of the garbage after this game right here because these guys are going to turn it around. I got FSU winning at home big by 21.
All right, now we go to our game of the week at TGFF Game Day. South Carolina, LSU at Gamecock Stadium. What is your thoughts?
Yes, and South Carolina, I love those coaches. I love that team. I think the LSU is going to come in, and I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout, but I do have USC winning that game because those guys they build off of momentum, and they just had a large deficit on the road against Kentucky last week, and I think those guys are going to build off of that. They got great coaches. Shane Beamer is a great coach. I'm great friends with the wide receiver coach, Mike Fury. He's a great person. Those guys know exactly what they're doing up there. USC wins this by 14 points.
All right. We appreciate you, Coach, for coming on TGFF Game Day.
Man, what would we do without you, Coach Norris? Thank you so much for giving us all those picks of the week. I know there's a ton of them. This time, we're going to be talking our Redbubble picks of the week, Jay. Redbubble is where you can get all of our merch from as well. Go hit up the Furman Joust collection for that, for all of your merch needs for our show, for your TGFF, Whole Pack of Wolves, Furman Joust, anything that you need, we got. And so, Jay, let's get started on our picks of the week. We're going to start with the very first one. Is we got the big one is Arizona State and Kansas State this week.
Exactly. That's tonight's game. And we will. I tell you what, I think both these teams are great, but I think Kansas State's going to have just a little more offense than Arizona State can handle. Give me Kansas State in this game.
Yeah, for me, obviously, we always got feel a little bit of the love from the Pop-Tarts Bowl, so I got to shout out my crew over there at the Kansas State. I got the Wildcats this week as well, so I think they win that game a little handsomely as well. But then we're going to move to the SEC now, and that's the big game that we got, the SEC, the Big Ten. We got Bama and Wisconsin. So who you got this week, Jay?
Well, I tell you what, Wisconsin's got a great team again, and I think they're going to give Bama fits, but unfortunately not enough fit, and I think Bama wins this game, but it's going to be close.
Give me the Elephants. The Elephants by a lot this week, 2 touchdowns. So give me Bama Roll Tide. So that's who I got for that one. Next one we're going to do is our ACC buddies at Boston College and Missouri. So this one's a ranked matchup, Jay, and, obviously on paper it's one of those games that you're like, hey, this one should be kind of close. But, we talked a little bit about this one earlier in the ACC game of the week for us this week. So I'll let you give your takes on it now.
Well, I tell you what, Missouri is my surprise team this year. I think they are, not that it's a surprise that they've been playing good. I just think that they're a surprise team out of the SEC when you look at all the other giants that are there. Boston College, I did not have them highly ranked as they are right now, and they are really showing a lot. And you know what? Give me the upset. Give me Boston College over Missouri in Missouri this year. I think this is just one of those games that they just come in and they just don't get fazed by all the noise, and they pull out the win.
Yeah, I told you a little bit earlier what my thoughts were on this. Give me the SEC all day right now over the ACC. And as bad as I feel about saying that, but I got Missouri by a lot this week. So we're going to see how that works out. Hopefully, maybe the ACC can turn the tide a little bit this week. So we'll see how that one plays out. We'll review that one next week. But the next one we got is our good friends down at Myrtle Beach, down at Coastal Carolina and Temple this week. Who you got first, Jay?
This one, give me Coastal Carolina. I don't need a second guess on it. I just think they're better than Temple, and they're going to take the win.
Yeah, Coastal Carolina is really playing well right now, and that's, as an NC State fan, our former offensive coordinator down there, Tim Beck, is kind of, a little touching to my heart, because it sounds to me like Tim Beck got it rolling down there. So give me the Chanticleers this week. Shant's up, so we got them as well. And now we're going to hit up the Civil War. Most of us down here in the South think a little differently about what Civil War means, but up in Oregon it's a little different. So this week we got the Ducks and we got the Beavers. So which animal are you going to take this week, Jay?
Ducks all day. I know they struggled a little bit last week, but I think Oregon bounces back and has a big win over Oregon State.
Yeah, give me the Quacks on this one. I'm gonna go with the Ducks again as well. I think last week was definitely a little bit of a struggle for them, but I think they're gonna come back to normal this week. It's really one of those tougher games, because it's a rivalry game, so you don't really, I think it's probably going to be a little bit closer than maybe people think, but I still think the Ducks are going to get it done this week. So give me them in the Civil War, and I think they're going to end up doing pretty well with that one. Next up, we're heading to the SEC, though, and we got a pretty big matchup with Texas A&M and Florida. So who you got for that one this week, Jay?
Well, this is the start of the Billy Napier funeral. I think Texas A&M goes into Florida, even though Florida is a tough place to play. And they go in and, oh, man, I tell you what, I'm changing my mind at the last second. DJ Lagway showed me a lot with Florida. Give me Florida in this game over Texas A&M.
Okay. Yeah, DJ Lagway played phenomenally well last week, so he did a great job. I really think the Gators might have found their next AR. He really reminded me a lot of Richardson for them, so I think that they might have a little bit of a quarterback that they can rely on now. So I'm going to take the Gators in the Swamp. I think Miami game kind of was a little bit of an overrated thing for them, but I think they get back on track and get it done this week. And then, Jay, we're hitting up the Southern Conference now. You and I are going to be on hand for the Furman-Stetson game. So I'm going to take this one first. Give me Furman. Give me them all day. Shouldn't even be a game. If Furman's as good as we think that they are, they're going to win this game by a lot. So
give me Furman in this game. Stetson's 2-0. Furman's 0-2, but 0-2 because they played Ole Miss, who we all knew was going to be a game that was going to get destroyed in. We was hoping it'd be closer, but it wasn't. And then last week, Furman beat Furman. It wasn't Charleston Southern. But the thing is, the scoreboard said Charleston Southern won, so therefore they did. Give me Furman in this game.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think no one's going to be relatively close. I think Furman's a better team than what their record is. So.
And new freshman quarterback Trey Hendon is going to be starting this game.
Very nice. Very nice. You and I like to talk a lot about Johnny Appleseed sometimes a lot down here in the South, but they don't really talk about it like that. It's the Apple Cup up in Washington. So who do you got this week? Washington, the Huskies, or you got Washington State?
Give me Washington in this game. I think it's going to be a close game. Both teams are lost a lot of players. Both teams are rebounding a little bit. So I think it's going to be a close game. Give me Washington over Washington State.
I'm going to pull the upset card. This is my upset pick of the week. I'm going with Washington State. The Pac-12 is now the official Pac-6. So give me the 6-pack of Pac this week. Give me Washington State. So next up, we're heading down to the state of Texas. We're going to hit up this Rice and Houston game. Who we got?
Give me Rice. Everything goes good with Rice. And that's not just on the food plate. So I tell you what, Rice is starting to get a lot of respect and starting to bounce back and grow their team. And I can say nothing but good things about Rice right now. Now, they're not a perennial power, don't get me wrong, but I think Rice gets the win over Houston, who is struggling right now.
Yeah, Big 12, Jay, or Mid 12, Jay? That's what I'm going with. I'm going with Rice, though. Give me the Rice all day. It's good with a lot of your tacos. It's good with a lot of stuff. So give me the Rice game this week. Big 12, you're not that big. So let's just keep it moving on that one. The next one we're going to have is another ACC-SEC matchup. So we got Wake and Ole Miss. I know this one, another tough one to pick, but for me, as far as the ACC goes, but give me Ole Miss by 90, maybe.
No, I'm picking Ole Miss in this game too. I'm a huge Wake Forest supporter. Don't get me wrong, but I think Ole Miss is just the best team money can buy. I'm sorry. I think they're the perennial SEC champion at the end of the year. I think they go into Wake Forest and they just put a hurting on them. I hope Wake puts up a good battle, but I just don't see it. I'm looking at, say, a 50-13 type game.
Yeah, 6 of the 7 of the top 7 this week were SEC teams, and they're there for a reason. Give me the pain train and the lane train down there. It's going to be a pain train and a lane train on Wake this week. So give me them. Next up, we're going to hit up our good buddies again down south. We're going to Central Florida, TCU, and I'm going to let you take this one, Jay.
Give me Central Florida. I got UCF in the Big 12 championship game. They'll be taking on Kansas State. And I just think UCF is going to be the better team in this game. Give me them over the Horned Frogs.
I'm totally right there with you. UCF is definitely a team that you can not reckon with, and they're a good team. So, watched a little bit of TCU last year and a little bit from them this year. They're better, but they're still not as good as Central Florida. So give me them this week. And then we're going to hit up again our good buddies down there in the ACC. We got our good friends, the Seminoles. They're going to be taking on the Tigers this week, Jay. I don't know what to think about the Noles. I told you guys a little bit earlier my thoughts. I really do think, though, DJ gets it back on track this week against Memphis. I think they're just too talented for the Tigers this week. So give me the Noles. Give them to me by 10 this week. I'm gonna say they get double digits this week.
And I'm going to go against you. This is my one of my upsets. Give me Memphis over FSU. I just think Memphis is another team that's on the rise. I think FSU is another team that's going downward. I think there's a lot of stuff going on at FSU that they don't want the world to know, but a lot of us do know. There's just a lot of turmoil right now. And I just think Memphis goes in and gets this win and really creates even more heat on Mike Norvell.
Yeah, this is one of those games, you and I were down at the beach last week when we watched SMU and Memphis play. They're a good team. They were runner-up last year. So, I think they are definitely getting better. I just think, this is going to be a kind of a benchmark for me to kind of determine what's going to happen in that SMU FSU game too. So, looking forward to this one. But I really just think, talent, Jimmys and Joes tend to win a lot more often than not, even if there is things going on. So I think they're talented enough to get this one done. So, and then obviously, Jay, this is going to be our game of the week. It's the one that we've been waiting on. So it's going to be the Tigers and the Gamecocks. And we all know that you love the Gamecocks. That's what I've been hearing all week from down there.
Justin, you have been smoking the good stuff if you think that I'm a Gamecock fan. Yes, I picked them to upset Kentucky last week when everybody was picking Kentucky, but I did it with a very, very troubled heart. This week, LSU goes into Williams-Brice Stadium and gets the win and puts the chickens in their place. And that's right. When they get done with them, there's going to be good chicken up at Arden's. You can get all their wings at Arden's at a special price on Wednesday, $10.99, 10 wings, fries, and a drink. And that's because the chickens lost to LSU.
Jay, this one, you always hear about the old term, the fox in the hen house. Everybody knows about that. But I think it's going to be the tiger in the hen house this week. Give me the Tigers. Give me them by 2 touchdowns this week. LSU gets it done. We all know Carolina is little Carolina. It's not the real Carolina. So that's just me saying from up here in North. But yeah, give me the Tigers this week.
And in saying that, we had picked this game the week before that this was what we was going to do, thinking that College Game Day was going to be going to either the Apple Cup or up there to the Civil War. And then they ended up coming. They knew what we were going to do, Justin. They know that this is the best show on the net for all your college information.
Absolutely. This is the place that you go. I mean, it's thank God for football. So we all know what we're doing here. So, we appreciate it, but you got our picks now. But Jay, man, I've been hearing a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things going on.
Not this dude.
The hurricanes kind of, throwing us off a little bit, but there's some craziness going on. Maybe he's going to join the show again. I think he got tossed around in the wind, but he's back on the show again. So welcome back to the show, Crazy Bobby. Let's get your pick, Crazy Bobby.
Hello, everybody. It's Uncle Bobby here talking to you live at Gamecock Land. That's right, I'm in Gamecock Land because this week it's LSU versus South Carolina. And Uncle Bobby wants to know who's going to win. And I'm going to talk to a Gamecock himself. That's right, I'm talking to a real Gamecock. That's right, Uncle Bobby is bringing you an exclusive from the Gamecock himself. Let's see who's going to win. Hey, Mr. Gamecock, I know you're down there. You're ticked off that you ain't got no good players. That you've been fighting Old Dominion, and you barely won, and you took on them Kentucky guys last week, and you whooped their butt. I tell you what, Mr. Gamecock, tell us what you think. Are you going to beat LSU? Huh? Are you going to beat them? I tell you what, who Uncle Bobby thinks is going to win. LSU over the South Carolina Gamecocks by 14. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be at Clemson Wine Bar, have me an ice cold beverage. Don't forget to go by Clemson Wine Bar because they bring you Uncle Bobby every single week.
Uncle Bobby, welcome back. He just never gets old, Jay.
He was in a chicken coop, of all places, a chicken coop.
The dude just is all over the place. Last week he was getting stampeded by Bevo. This week he's all in the chicken coop. We don't know what's going on with him right now. But we would like to thank our partners for, getting with Uncle Bobby this week, Clemson Wine Bar. For all of your needs there, go check them out down at Clemson Wine Bar.
I think Bobby lives there.
Yeah, I think he's hanging out there somewhere. But yeah, we appreciate you guys joining the show again this week. You know what it is. We're going to be joined again next week. Another good special picker week where we've got our rewind that we're going to be doing. And we appreciate all of our sponsors again. If we didn't shout out you guys enough, we'll continue to shout out you guys all the time.
And we got a special new person coming up next week, the blind ref. We don't know where this guy came from. Justin finds these guys, I think, because I don't know ever heard of them. And plus, I'm telling you now, next week is our Clemson NC State at the Point RV at Lake Hartwell. We'll be having a wing eating contest, all kinds of things going on. I hear Bobby's going to show up live with Justin. Oh, my Lord. I'm almost scared of this.
I'm scared, Jay. I'm scared of this game, especially as an NC State fan. I'm hoping I see something a little different this week to give me some encouragement. But, just seeing our good friend of the program, Uncle Bobby's probably going to give me some happiness in some way, shape, or form. But, I think you guys are going to have to tune in too, because I think we might have a couple of others, joining the show.
Oh, okay.
Week down at the Point. So you guys might want to come check us out. We're going to be live again down there in the Tiger's Den. So I'm excited about it. We're going to be looking forward to it. You guys should too. So check us out again next week. We look forward to seeing y'all again. Take care. Enjoy the football all week. Have fun. And we'll see you guys next week.
TGFF, pick up a football. Game day. 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 You have tuned in to another episode of Thank God for Football, brought to you by the Fanboys, powered by Greenville Sports Media.